So from an outsider's perspective, say that parent of a friend, what were some of those environmental factors that people could see where it's like, oh boy, I'm worried about Grant's future.
Yeah, I mean, it was parents, it was the '80s. It was lots of drugs. It was lots of partying. And um, I mean, I was in a different scenario for the fact that I had found hockey. I knew I wanted to be a hockey player from when
Mm,
I was 4 years old. It was no
mm,
doubt. Wanted to play the game, and that's all I wanted to do. But outside of that, uh, the parents, the living conditions, things were different than what some other parents maybe had or kids. And it's an interesting thing to look back and say, yeah. I mean, I was a kid that maybe in high school, some of the teammates, because I went on to play for the state team. It was Team Colorado, and that was like the top 20 kids in the state at the time. And majority of them came from Denver. Some came from Colorado Springs, and a few came from our town. We were already looked at like a third world country by some of these guys. They are always joking, um, "You guys have running water yet? Or you guys, still in wagons? How do you get around?" All that alone just from the kids. But I was always conscious of other parents and how they would look at it. And they'd be like, kids would, "I can't hang out. I can't spend the night. I can't do this. My parents won't let me." And you start to figure out in life what's happening, what's going on. And there was plenty of experiences where people had said, that kid ain't gonna turn into anything. Stay away from him. And it all just continued to fuel me through life. Like, I'm not gonna be what you guys think I'm gonna be, but
yeah,
maybe I
how
will
did
be.
yeah, in the moment, if you can remember, how did you like internalize that? Because I've used to give you a little bit of time to think about it, because it does require some reflection back. But I know that there are not the exact same, but there are moments in my life, one in particular with sports, where it's like I basically leveraged a resentment in a manner where I saw it as like fueling me as like quote unquote motivation. And it wasn't until I entered into recovery that I really started looking at it and like, well, that wasn't a healthy perspective of how to integrate that moment and that learning into my life. And yeah, there was some upside to it, like it did drive me, but the downside was pretty intense. So I'm curious, like in the moment, if you had any reactions, and then how that carried forward.
Yeah, it was detrimental to me. It wasn't helpful to have that chip on my shoulder.
Hmm.
It fueled me along. It was enough to get me through things. And as I've gotten older, the same as you're saying, you learn that you see the opportunities and how you might have missed them.
Hmm.
I was out at Minnesota hockey camps and had been doing really well at that age, 16s, right? Select 16s out in Lake Placid, and was getting ready for kind of that junior lifestyle. And one of the coaches, he's a really good coach, but he knew that I was a bit of a head case in that sense, right? And played with all heart and not much. I mean, enough problems at home that you could rattle me.
Hmm.
And he broke me through having guys stick on me. And I look back on that like he found my weakness, when you get that raging tear and like, you get really upset. And those are moments that defined a lot of those were failing moments and opportunities missed, but they're growth opportunities at the same point.
As you started to experience that and kind of feel that pressure from other people, did it change your relationship with your parents at all? And what I mean by that, did you kind of reflect on it and sort of have like a, well, this is your fault type feeling, because that was sort of what people seem to hone in on?
I might have. I really wouldn't. think of it like it was their fault. I just wanted to get away from it. I just wanted to separate myself as who I was. I wasn't
Get away from your family or get away from the,
yeah, just get away from the family, just get, to wherever I could was going. I knew that the best things that happened in my life at that age, like through the high school years, was that team and staying up there in billets. So we got to stay with a lot of different families, got to stay with people in Cherry Creek, very successful. And then I found a family that I stayed with the most, and they were just salt of the earth people, but real at the same point. Like from New York, moved out to Denver, just and great family. You know what I mean? You'd spend maybe a Thanksgiving with them and see what Thanksgiving was like, and you'd see different things, and you'd say to yourself, when I'm older, this is kind of what I'd like to be like, or I'd like to have a family, or I'd like to whatever it might be. I got to sample a lot of different other environments. So I find that to be what was the blessing that ended up helping me to fuel me later.